Welcome. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family, and a blessed new year to you. And we are so delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. We would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@ewtn.com. And today, our guest is Rick Spinello. He is the professor of ethics at Boston College, and he is also a member of the adjunct faculty at St. John's Seminary in Boston. He's the author of a great book, and we highly recommend it to you. It's called The Splendor of Marriage, and it's St. John Paul's vision of love, marriage, and family, and the culture of life. And this great book is available at ewtnrc.com. Maybe you're thinking, my husband and I, maybe we need a renewal in our marriage. Maybe we need just a little cleanup in the refreshment of our marriage. This would be a great book for the both of you to do together, or you could do it with a group.
And I'll tell you something else. If you think the nation needs a little cleanup, you think the world needs a little cleanup, you think science needs a little cleanup, you think the church needs a little cleanup, that's what I see in this book. Because John Paul II's vision, St. John Paul II's vision, his corpus of writings and what he said about the nature of man, marriage, the family, and so on, the natural law. And so I was saying, we were speaking to Rick before the show, I was saying, you know, we so often say, how did we get here? That we're not believing in marriage the way it is traditionally. We don't know what it means to be a human person. How did we get to this place? Rick Spinello outlines how we got to that place and what the answer is in the teaching of the Catholic Church and in St. John Paul II. Also, today is the Epiphany.
Yes, today is the traditional feast of the Epiphany. And if you haven't done the official Epiphany blessing over your home, maybe you've never done that, you could go to EWTN/seasons and feasts and find out about the Epiphany blessing, where you mark your home, the door, the front door, with the year 20 plus C plus B plus M plus 21, and you read an official blessing over your home and for all those that enter. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, we've done it for years, and it's wonderful.
We could send it to you as well, jimandjoy@ewtn.com, jimandjoy@ewtn.com. Epiphany. On Monday, Joy, we said, not only the Magi, the Epiphany that they had, but learning from them, we should be praying for epiphanies.
Yes.
We should be praying for more light, and that we would follow the light. Should be praying for light for ourselves, for our family members, for others. In the midst of the darkness that people are in, and I know some of you are tremendously worried maybe about your own family members and loved ones, and you say, Lord, let them have an epiphany. Let them see. We do this at our center, our Her Choice Birmingham Women's Center, with girls who may be coming for abortions. We pray that light would shine, and sometimes, even one time when we were praying for an epiphany, the girl there that was considering abortion said, I think I'm having an epiphany. She didn't even know we were praying the word epiphany. So let us pray for epiphanies. Let us follow the light until we get to the one who says, I am the light of the world. May that one who is the great I am be upon you and all of your loved ones in this new year. Rick Spinello, The Splendor of Marriage, Love, Marriage, Family, and the Culture of Life, the vision of St. John Paul II. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Please don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, today our guest is Rick Spinello. He's the author of a great book called The Splendor of Marriage, and this great book is available at ewtnrc.com. Well, Rick, we want to welcome you to At Home with Jim and Joy, and we're delighted to have you. We want you to tell our family a little bit about yourself and then why the urgency to write this book, this particular time in our history.
Well, thanks, Jim and Joyce. First of all, thank you very much for having me on your wonderful show. kind of an old man, as people could see, so I grew up in pre-Vatican II church and entered the seminary actually after I went to college. I was a Jesuit seminarian for a number of years in the 1970s, which was not a particularly good time to be in the seminary. But I did have the wonderful opportunity to study at Fordham University with some great Jesuits there who taught me about Thomas Aquinas and taught me that Aquinas is really the best articulation of Catholic wisdom. And really, Aquinas' metaphysics is really the native tongue of the Church's theology. So that was a wonderful thing. I left the seminary, met my future wife, and we married a few years later, and went to teach at Boston College. And it's during that time that my wife, first of all, helped me overcome some of my rather unorthodox tendencies, got me on the straight and narrow, my wonderful wife, Susan. But she also recommended to me that I read John Paul II. She said, you know, you're an ethics teacher. Why don't you read Veritatis Splendor, great book on ethics. And like most men, I said, yeah, sure, I'll get to it. So finally, after several requests, I read Veritatis Splendor, and it was a great experience for me. It was like walking into a brilliantly lighted room because everything became clear. I had read a lot of moral theology that had distortions and ambiguities. But when you read Veritatis Splendor, things become quite clear. So I went on to read a lot more of John Paul II and to do some scholarly work on it. I read 4 books. This is the 4th one. And I've devoted a lot of my teaching and scholarly work to John Paul II.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, just the title of that book, The Splendor, Splendor of Truth. And here we are on the Feast of Epiphany, working through your book, The Splendor of Marriage, Love, Marriage, Family, the Culture of Life, St. John Paul II's vision. Epiphany, splendor, something manifesting, something glorious. And when I think of John Paul II and his impact on my life, Joy's life, I was a lapsed Catholic for a number of years, became an Episcopal priest, didn't understand what I left. And all of a sudden, this meteor of a pope shot across the dark sky. And to me, he was an epiphany. And I was trying to implement so many of the things he was saying about. Before I heard him say them, I just kind of stumbled along these things. And I said, my gosh, this man is articulating the things I'm trying to do. And I'm maxed out. But I'm trying to really inculcate in the congregation I was overseeing as an Episcopal priest the dignity of the human person, the sanctity of human life, the sanctity of the human person, what marriage is, what marriage does, what it's about, building a culture of life. And here he was. And so his teaching is splendid, and he was an epiphany to me, and it sounds like to you as well. But again, why? We want to ask you again, don't we have a large corpus of his teachings? I think you've written 3 books already on his life. Others have written. Why another book? Do we need another book? Why the timing of this book now?
Yeah, well, actually, there are a lot of books on John Paul II, a lot of very good books. But my worry is that John Paul II is being forgotten. He's kind of falling into oblivion. Some of that, I think, is a little bit deliberate on some people in the church who oppose his teachings, but most of it's just natural. Most of it comes about because he died in 2005. It's been almost 16 years now. And popes get forgotten. I just think that's the way it works. You know, when a pope dies, we forget about that, and we concentrate on a new pope, Francis, which is fine. But I think something is really desperately lost if we forget about the teachings of John Paul II, particularly the teachings of marriage and family.
Yeah.
So I wrote the book as a kind of timely reminder that this man has a great deal to teach us about marriage and family. And just think about what he wrote about these topics, you know, books like Theology of the Body, Love and Responsibility, Letter to Families, Res Consortio, the great treatise on the feminine genius, Mulieris Dignitatem, even a play that's turned into a movie that he never did has run on some occasions, you know, Julia's Shop. All these magnificent books that are desperately needed today because people have forgotten, I think, about the marriage, about the grandeur of the family. He was always fond of saying that the future of history, the future of salvation, passes by way of the family. So the family is critical And we need a reminder about what this family is, about what marriage is, and that's what this book attempts to do. It tries to kind of synthesize all these writings into one place and come up with his vision of marriage, family, and the
Yeah,
culture of life,
yeah,
with the hope that people will then turn to some of these books and read them. Maybe reread Theology of the Body if you read it 10 years ago. If you haven't read it, take a look at it now. Take a look at Great Love and Responsibility, which I think is one of the greatest books of the last century. Tremendous treatise on sexual morality. So that's my hope.
yes.
People will rediscover John Paul II or discover him, if
Yes.
that be the case.
But Rick, you know, we work at a pregnancy medical center, and marriage, people just, it's not even on their radar to get married. And certainly we've lost our way what it means to be a human being and what we were made for and who we were made by. I mean, we really are a culture that has lost our way. But you devote a whole chapter in your book, The Splendor of Marriage, to the human person and human nature. And why did John Paul write so much about that?
Well, yes, that's right. He in Letter to Families, he talks about how there is a crisis of truth, which is a crisis of concepts, because we don't know what terms like person and gift and community, we don't know what those terms mean anymore. We've lost their meaning because the culture has really obfuscated the meaning of those terms. And that's particularly true about the person. We don't know what it means to be a person. Part of the problem is that uh, atheistic humanism has kind of pushed aside God. And he, as John Paul II says in Evangelium Vitae, the creature is unintelligible without the creator, right? So if we push aside the creator, the creature doesn't know who he is. He gets mixed up. He loses his bearings in the world. So we have to rediscover who the person is. And who is the person? Well, to answer that question, we can turn to both faith and reason, right? Faith tells us that, or Revelation tells us that the person is made in an image and likeness of God. Reason tells us that the person has a soul, intellect, and a will. We like to talk about the person in terms of self-possession, that the person possesses himself through his self-awareness and through self-determination. The person has freedom. But always he says freedom for, freedom to choose the good, freedom for love, he said. That's what we're looking for. That's who the person is. The person also is embodied. The person's a spirit, like angels. Angels are persons too, but we're embodied spirits. And the body is an integral part of our personal reality.
Yeah.
So that we live out the moral life as a unity of body and soul. But the most important thing about the person to remember, the most important thing about Christian anthropology is that, as he says in one of the encyclicals, man finds himself through a sincere gift of self. Because in giving oneself away, you form communion. And we're relational beings. We need other people. There is no authentic I without a we. And that we is formed through self-giving. So we always have to keep that in mind. We don't find fulfillment in isolation and self-sufficiency. We find fulfillment in communion with others. It happens through the gift of self.
Yes.
Yes, and as Joy was saying, at our crisis pregnancy center, we see so many women coming in who are now carrying a child. Oftentimes the man is not there, the father of the child. And we really do use that phrase by John Paul II about what's the opposite of love. The opposite of love is not hate. The opposite of love is usury. And again, this gets to what you're speaking about, a human being. What is a human being? What is the person? You mentioned at the beginning of your book, John Paul II speaking about the difference between modern understanding of humans and relationships is that the modern understandings are devoid of transcendence, of that supernatural, of being made in the image and likeness of God. So often we use that love and responsibility language and are you really being loved by someone? You use the term love. What do you mean by love? Because he's not here right now, which just sounds like you're being used as a means to an end. Unpack more fully John Paul II's vision, which is the Catholic vision, which is a natural law vision, I think, as well, creation vision of the human person, who that person is, and how we relate to every human being, especially if we're going to engage in that incredible act of sexual intercourse. What are the requirements of that? What should take place? Because so many times Joy's sharing, we're counseling, and we're saying, well, tell us about the relationship with the guy. And he said, well, I don't have a relationship. And Joy's like, and others who would counsel, well, you do have a relationship because you've just conceived a child. Yeah, but this relationship doesn't mean anything. So just unpack some of what I'm saying, and John Paul II's vision versus this world vision and this hook-up vision of this culture.
Yes, yeah. I think the best way to approach his sexual morality is his understanding of the personalist norm. That's sort of the first principle of morality for him, because the person has such dignity. The way in which we can preserve that dignity is through this personalist norm, which says basically that the person is never to be used as a mere means, but always affirmed as of her own sake. And he juxtaposes that in Love and Responsibility to utilitarianism, which is a terrible philosophy of the 20th century that measures the human person by their usefulness. How useful are you to society? What do you contribute? And it's because of that philosophy, I think, that we have things like euthanasia, that people say, well, this person isn't useful anymore, so therefore maybe they don't deserve to be alive. And we can apply this personalist norm to sexual morality because, again, for John Paul II, there is a dichotomy between love and use. So there are two ways to treat the human person. We can treat the human person with love. Love meaning at one level, just treating the human person with loving kindness, even if we don't know this individual. Or we can use a person. So we can use them to help achieve our own ends. And in terms of the sexual sphere, we can use a person for pleasure, right? He says there are two ways which we use people, the general way, but also in the sexual way. We can look at a person and say, well, you're nothing to me but an object for pleasure.
Right.
I depersonalize you and you become an object for pleasure.
Right.
This is what's going on today.
It is.
You talk to people that you run into at the pregnancy center, and they're victims of this use. It's rampant, I think, in the hookup culture that we have today, where people allow themselves to be used for pleasure. And that demeans them. It's beneath their dignity. It's an affront to their dignity. Even if they let themselves be used, we don't want to use people for pleasure. We don't want to personalize them and objectify them and say, well, you're nothing to me but an object for pleasure. We want to love them instead.
Yes. Well, numerous of the people that we're sharing with, and maybe even in our own experience before we had our own epiphanies, they actually confess this, went together. I mean, they will say, well, we're just using one another, or it's pleasurable, and so on. But when we see them, it gets to a point where it's not pleasurable anymore. So this pleasurable norm that they had has really soured and has bitten them, and here they are. How many sexually transmitted diseases, we're speaking about now? How many lies were told? John Paul speaks about lying with your body, telling lies, because that act of sexual intercourse, which is reserved for conjugal love in marriage, it's saying with the body, I give myself with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you. That's what it's supposed to be saying. And if I get to counsel some of these women or men, I'll use that phraseology. Before you get to engage in this act, you should say something like, for better or worse, for richer or poor, in sickness and health, to love and to cherish until we're parted by death. This is my solemn vow. Then you get to engage in this incredibly intimate encounter. And with all that I am and all that I have, I honor you. And I say to some of these women that have come through now that have been bitten by this false ideology, would you like a man to say that to you or make a commitment to you before he would engage in this act with you? And most of them say, yeah, I really would. That's called marriage. And then you got to introduce marriage to people. And this was John Paul's vision. This has to be deep within us. And your book is doing a great service for us to isolate his teachings, the various phrases, and to catechize our children and others, and to bring hope to this world.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we can begin to follow up on what you're saying by talking about what love is. You know, what exactly is love? So if John Paul is saying that, look, there's a dichotomy between love and use, uh, what is what is love? And he has a great account of love and Love and Responsibility. He really unpacks love and talks about its evolution. You know, love begins as an attraction between two people. He calls it fondness. You know, two people are attracted to one another. Um, they they're fond of each other. Love develops into a kind of desire where two people desire each other. And then love evolves into benevolence. So love has to have this element of self-transcendence, right? Where two people get beyond themselves and they will the good of the other. We always reminded of Thomas Aquinas' definition of love. And love is to will the good of the other. So love has to have this component of self-transcendence. And then it's possible to have union. The union, he talks about the union of sympathy, which is kind of an emotional attachment, but the deeper union of friendship, where two people form moral union with each other, a deep commitment. He calls it a doubling of the eye, you know, where I care about the other as I care about myself. And if that friendship is between a man and a woman, it can evolve into that spousal love, that total giving of oneself to the other. And then the sexual act, as you say, becomes a sign and a means of spousal love. So that's what love is. Love in its objective profile, he says, always involves this benevolence, this caring for the good of the other. It involves a moral union, a union of friendship. And if it's deep enough, it becomes spousal love. And then, as you say, then sexual relationships are appropriate, because then it becomes a sign and a means of this total self-giving, what spousal love is.
Beautifully, beautifully said. Rick, thanks so much for opening up your book to us, and we'll continue this tomorrow. The book is The Splendor of Marriage, St. John Paul II's vision of love, marriage, family, and the culture of life. Go to ewtnrc.com, ewtnrc.com. Start your year off with this incredible read. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and we had a great conversation with Rick Spinello on his great book, The Splendor of Marriage. And you know, in this post-Christian era, not only is the culture lost its way, the church has lost its way. People, we're not even thinking about getting married in the church. It's not even an option anymore. It's like, no, we can live together, we can have children if we want children. If not, we're just going to live together, and that's okay with me. So what grieved my heart, what Rick said, was that it seems like the church and the culture have certainly forgot about Pope St. John Paul II. And that's an awful thought to think that.
Well, he's done us a great service by writing this book, The Splendor of Marriage. And I love when he was unpacking John Paul II's teaching on love. And, you know, anything but utility, but love. Giving oneself as a gift to the other one, wanting to facilitate that which is best for the other one's life. And even going beyond that, giving yourself to the betterment of that person, fully engaged in the sacrament of marriage, where you can give yourself mind, body, soul, spirit, comprehensively, holistically, to another human being. What a gift that is. And John Paul lifts that up, that marriage relationship. He says that most shows forth as a metaphor Jesus Christ's relationship with you. You are the bride of Christ. You are the bride of Christ. He is your groom. This is a love relationship. This is a marriage. Marriage shows this. And everyone who's ever lived is called to be married. Might not be that sacrament of marriage. Priests are called to be married to the church. Sisters and nuns are called to be married to Jesus Christ, and they're showing us what the future is when we hopefully will be in heaven, where nobody is married as couples, but we're all married to him. They're showing us that. Meanwhile, we're supposed to be showing in our lives and marriages the love of Jesus for the bride, the way we love one another, and that people should be drawn to this. Well, may this vision that the Catholic Church has, and that's revealed in the Splendor of Marriage, ytsync.com, go there. Go forth and renew the face of the earth. May many have an epiphany to the good news of Jesus Christ and the gospel of life, marriage, and the family. You're an important part of this EWTN family. You're always at home with Jim and with joy, and we're walking into the new year with you in faith, hope, and love. God bless you and all of your loved ones. Bye now.